New York, the world's premier city, one of the richest and most powerful areas of the planet. And Miami, the jewel of the Sunshine State, and supreme example of the American dream. Both are glorious cities, but are threatened by one of nature's most terrifying phenomena that will one day race from across the ocean and engulf the east coast of the United States, the mega tsunami. Simon Day and Mark Maslin's extensive research has led them to a startling fact. The entire catastrophic chain of events is caused by one of the most common elements on the planet, water.
When the groundwater levels within the volcanoes are high, during warm and humid climate periods, the collapses are more likely to occur. And we're living in one of these periods now. Since the last ice age, the climate has been warm and relatively humid.
In this case of the Canary Islands, it's a very specialised area, and what happens is that it's water, and water is the key element that actually could cause this mountain to collapse. What happens is rainwater, if it falls into the centre of the island, actually collects in between the solid, impermeable dikes that have been put in there by previous eruptions. And if you have another eruption and all this heat rises, the water actually expands. And as we know, if you heat water, it expands greatly, and literally the island will just snap apart, causing half of it to fall off.
Unfortunately, the Earth is going through a warm period right now. But what is the probability of this event actually occurring?
Well, the probability is 100%. There's no question that the flank of the Cumbre Vieja volcano, which is the one we're talking about here on La Palma, will collapse. The problem is the timing. Is it going to happen in a few years' time? Is it going to happen in a few thousand years? And these sorts of events have very low frequencies. They happen very, very irregularly and perhaps tens of thousands of years apart, which is why we don't take any notice of them. But that doesn't mean they're not going to happen again. And I think all we can say at the moment is this collapse will probably occur during an eruption. If it's an eruption next year or an eruption in 1,000 years, we don't know. But it will be, geologically speaking, very soon.
Because the scientists are in no doubt that a landslide disaster will burst from La Palma, the University College specialists are preparing for the worst.
And this fact that the collapses are linked to the eruptions means that we can predict the mega tsunami by monitoring the eruptions. And a period of weeks or even months can be involved where the flank of the volcano is being pushed by the magma and by the groundwater pressure is beginning to move, and the scientists monitoring the eruption will be able to predict that a collapse might be about to occur anything up to weeks or months in advance. And this would allow evacuation of coastal areas, even on the other side of the ocean, that will be affected by the tsunami.
Well, we can't stop them. I mean, that's clear. The energies involved are gigantic. But if you're looking, for example, at La Palma, we suspect that there will be an eruption before the collapse occurs. So if the volcano starts to erupt, then you can increase monitoring on the side of the volcano, see if it's starting to slip, if it's increasing its slide rate. If it looks as if there's going to be a problem, then you get people out in the United States, you move them inland. I mean, there are hurricanes, there have been hurricanes recently where 1 million or 2 million people have been evacuated from American cities on the East Coast.
But what can we really do in the worst case scenario?
You can model how that tsunami is going to impact when it hits the coast. So you can do research beforehand and say that's what's going to be bad there, bad there, bad there, which hasn't been done yet, and get people out from those areas. But to be absolutely honest, the whole area, the whole of the eastern United States is going to be affected to some extent. So it does rely on knowing or getting some idea when this collapse is going to occur and really moving people out. Something has to be done if you're going to reduce what would otherwise be an enormous death toll.
Although this is one of nature's most devastating phenomena, mankind is helping the process along because of pollution.
The key thing is that we found that to get rain into the centre of the island, you need very warm sea surface temperatures. Because at the moment, if you go to the Canary Islands, it's very dry on the beaches, you go up the hill, beautiful rainforest, and in the centre is desert. Now, if you heat up the oceans, and we've seen this in the past, the actual cloud layer and the heat exported rises, and then it will float much higher over the island, causing rain to actually fall into the centre. We have evidence that global warming is causing sea surface temperature to rise, but we also have evidence from around the world that that cloud layer is actually rising.
planetary temperature increases are not only melting the polar ice caps, but could be leading to Earth's worst natural disaster.
Global warming could actually put water into the centre of the volcano and mean that we have a precursor, and next eruption could cause it to fail.
In terms of what do I think is going to be the next global natural catastrophe, I'd put the collapse of La Palma top of the list. Well, it started to slide in 1949. It's something that's happening. It's ongoing. It's not something we're waiting to happen. It started in 1949. It looks as if it might be sliding still about a centimetre a year. All we're waiting for is a final crash into the sea.
These collapses are more likely to occur at present than on the long-term average. And there are a number of volcanoes that we're concerned about that are showing signs of precursory instability and that may be particularly likely to collapse during an eruption in the near future.